This clip is sponsored by Wash and Go, and that can only mean one thing. That's right, I'm surrounded by a sea of green. By now you should know that Wash and Go is the best way to look after your luscious locks. I mean, look at what it's done for mine. Fantastic. But you don't have to take my word for it. Just look at some of the 600 plus unreal reviews on their Amazon page. Linda from the United Kingdom says, well, it smells lush and leaves hair smelling fresh. Fantastic, Linda. Kindle customer JSB says, product arrived as advertised. Always very important. Always important to know that, Kindle customer JSB. And finally, my personal favourite, it's shampoo and it works for me. Absolutely fantastic there from Casey. It is indeed shampoo and also a conditioner. If you want to get your Wash and Go today, then hit the link in the description and get your bottle sent to you today. And remember, it's a shampoo and it works for me. Enjoy. Time for change. And I don't mean ahead of the derby. I mean, look, I'm very adamant that Manchester United are heading in a very bad direction and on course for more failure, potential for things to get worse. But how do they get better? What is the change that needs to happen? Is it possible? And how do we steer a more positive future for Manchester United? Because it's not really about the next 18 months. It's about the next 18 years. It's about the next 8 years. How do we do that? And what part does a Cristiano Ronaldo, a Harry Maguire, a David De Gea, and a Richard Arnold, a Murtough, how and how really are Manchester United going to steer their way through this? And there's a few things I want to bring into this. I want to talk about the summer ahead. Obviously, we had Fabrizio on this afternoon and he gave us some information which was quite interesting. I want to talk about the last few months and weeks of the season as well. I want to talk about next season. Although it's uncertain about what players we bring in, should some of these players still be part of it? And obviously Ronaldo is a big part of that. And I really want to sort of get your thoughts as the show develops about this thing that I don't understand. This dislike for Ronaldo, this belief that Ronaldo is the problem, this belief that Ronaldo should be jettisoned out of this team. And also probably on a smaller scale, but I want to hit it head on as well and understand it if any of you actually believe it. What's your issue with David De Gea? Because it seems to happen more and more. The announcement of a new contract today was met with quite a few people, mainly maybe it's a Twitter problem, I don't know, who think that David De Gea is a big problem in this team. So I want to talk about that. I also want to talk about the Glazers. I also want to talk about wages and issues at Manchester United. And I want you to give me some of your thoughts as well. So super chats, whatever you want to do, get in the chat. We'll be reading some of that out because I've got some very interesting stats I want to bring you around David De Gea in comparison to the top 6 goalkeepers in the league. And look, it's going to be a very interesting chat when we get onto this. But the first thing I wanted to say as well, I don't want this to be forgotten. I wanted to get it in at the earliest part of the show as possible. There are a million raft of reasons as to why people don't trust the Glazers, why they don't like the Glazers, why they think they're just about money and not about Manchester United. But there was something that just, and I've given plenty over the years, but there was something that dropped in my head this afternoon, and I thought I've got to mention this on the show. And I don't know why I've never really thought about it before. Subconsciously I probably have, but I've never probably formed it into a pattern of thinking. And basically, you know how what's your opinion on Tajan? I don't know, Khalees. I don't really know who it is. So the reality is, I want to talk about this, not that. I want to direct the show onto the important things, and we can drift off if you want to towards the end. But if I was in charge of Manchester United, right, or Manchester United Supporters Trust was in charge of Manchester United, or the representatives of the Red Army were in charge of Manchester United, or you were in charge of Manchester United, and we'd failed like we have done for the last 10 years, no title run, no trophy for 5 years, and people were on at me, or you, or whoever's in charge, fans of the club in charge, me, Manchester United Supporters Trust, Red Army, you, we're in charge. We are the Glazers, right? And we'd presided over the last 9 years and we loved the club. And the fan base was doing what it's been doing for the last few years, saying, get out of our club, you haven't got a clue what you were doing. How would you feel if you truly were a fan of the club and you loved the club? And let's make it less complicated. Let's pretend I'm in charge of Manchester United. I am the Glazers. I'm still doing the United Stand. I'm still talking about it every single day. Love the club. Disagreeing, agreeing, debate, etc. But love the club. Want it to be successful. But I've been in charge for the last 9 years. I'm not the chief executive. I've employed Woodward. I've got Arnold. I've got Murtough. I've made all the £1 billion signings. It's all on me. I am effectively Joel Glazer. I am in charge of 9 years. And I love this club, but it's in this position. And all of you are having a pop at me saying this ain't acceptable. What do you think I would do? For all the talk about the Glazers and what they've done wrong, I think that is the most simplistic reason why they are an absolute poison to this football club. Because they don't care. And I think we dance around the subject, but they just don't care. Because if you were genuinely a carer of Manchester United, if you genuinely supported Manchester United, there is absolutely no way you would preside and sit back on the last 10 years without really sacking anybody who runs your club, or taking a look in the mirror and going, I love this club so much, I've failed it, I need to give it to somebody else who can succeed. And that is the most clearest, bluntest way of explaining what the problem is with Manchester United. They don't care. Because if they did care, they'd put the interests of the club before their own wallet. And ultimately, they don't care. They keep people like Arnold and Woodward and Judge and Murta around the club for years and years and years because they're people who generate money for them. And money is their god when it comes to Manchester United. If there was one bit of them that actually cared about the club and wanted it to succeed and knew what the club was all about and understood its history and understood its fan base and understood where Manchester United should be in the footballing world, they would have sacked all those people years ago and replaced them with people that can be successful, or they would have given the club to somebody who cares. And that is the problem. It's as simple as that. It's exactly as simple as that. They don't care. Because if I was in charge, or you were in charge, or the Manchester United Supporters Trust, or any other group was in charge, they would resign. They would sell the club and give it to somebody who could make it successful, because ultimately that's what we want. And that is the issue with the Glazers. Very simple, isn't it? Xenophobia is the reason for David De Gea and Ronaldo hate, says Frank Lucas. I don't know about that. Changing De Gea is like changing your back tyre on your bike that's got a front puncture and leaving it, says Jay. We're going to talk about that in a minute, Jay. Mark, the need to hit the Glazers in the pocket, stop attending the matches, stop buying the merchandise and cancel all social media accounts, says Kevin. And it's because in their eyes the staff are doing a good job. They are helping them achieve them goals and making a commercial giant and cash cow. Exactly, Joshua. The only thing they're interested in is money. If they cared about the club, they would have made other changes. How possible would it be to gather all season ticket holders and ask not to attend for a match? It would certainly be noticed. They won't do it, Ralph, because, as I said, there's people who want to fight United fans more than they want to fight the Glazers. David De Gea is so far down the list of United's problems, it's ludicrous our player of the year getting so much hate. Well, I want to talk about David De Gea, Adam, and it's going to be probably the best part of the show, but for me it's not a headline, it's not a massive thing, it's not a problem, and I'll explain why that is in a moment. But I do want to understand that. I hope some people can come in with the opposite view, because that's really what I want tonight. Because I wanted to get that Glazers things out of the way. Time for change. Let's get into this. Time for change. Dara says Ronaldo isn't the problem, neither is De Gea. Well, let's just talk about Ronaldo for a moment, because of legacy, then throw his whole legacy in the dirt, make it make sense, says Khalees. I think with a certain section of our fan base at the moment, there is a bit of conflict. I'm not part of it, so I don't understand it, and hopefully some of those people can make us understand a little bit. But I really do value people who've delivered in a shirt for Man United. Ronaldo delivered amazingly in a United shirt, and David De Gea has delivered in that shirt. And effectively, they seem to be the two headline players that people don't like, and yet we've got pretenders, absolute pretenders. If anyone can remember the Pretenders, I half expect some of our players to come out singing their songs because they are pretenders, and yet they don't get anywhere near as much stick. I think maybe I could understand that because we expect so much from people like Ronaldo that when he doesn't deliver we feel let down, whereas we probably don't expect so much from some of the other pretenders. But look, is it time for change? I want to talk about that. We went from Goldbridge, that's the end of the clip. I'm sure you enjoyed it. In fact, I bet that's the best clip you've ever watched. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel, click the bell icon so you never miss a clip again. In fact, smash a like on the video, because we all know only legends like videos, and you are all legends. So please smash a like on the video, and we will see you again on the next one. Thank you very much for watching, as always.